Good afternoon, everybody. Saturday afternoon here in Appalachia. Rainy, humid. Just got through doing some work outside in the rain. All nice and wet and sweaty. I wanted to make this video and then call it a day. This is part 2 of my 5-year summary, 5 years ago. Summary of going down to Costa Rica, Rythmia Life Advancement Center, and participating in the ceremonies with Mother Ayahuasca. So this week, actually was July 29th, was the first ceremony 5 years ago. And I have the summary of the 4 ceremonies right here. So, actually I don't have my notebooks anymore. But I went down there, if you recall, from a month ago. I went down there holding on to my anger because the first time I went down, I had been, show me what I've become, which is the first intention in the Colombian tradition, and I have become fear. So I was very afraid. I didn't push myself. I didn't do very much ayahuasca. I was a chicken shit. And immediately at the end of the week is when I made plans to come back in the end of July, the second week, and that's where we are right now. So I arrived on Saturday, hung out for a couple days, and then Monday at 5 o'clock we go in and start getting ready for ceremony number 1. I have one goal here on that Monday night, one goal, and that is to get to the second cup of ayahuasca, because I didn't do that on my first trip. So that's my goal. Now, in the tradition, the first intention is show me what I've become. All right, so my goal to get to the second cup is to push past the fear. So here's what happened. They called us up. The whole thing is very ceremonial. So they have a talk in the beginning. The shamans do. We all gather around, and whoever is leading that particular ceremony will have a discussion, say some words. Then we'll go back to the mattresses, and then they do a ceremony, a musical and dance ceremony, blessing the ayahuasca and the people, and just the maloca as it's called, just blessing it, getting ready for the journeys. And then they call us up. Everybody gets in 2 lines, and they serve us a cup of ayahuasca about this big. Tastes really bad. There's different brews, so they'll have, like, Monday nights. When I was there, Monday and Wednesday was the Brazilian brew. Tuesday was Brad's brew. He was one of the shamans, and he made his own stuff, and his was actually my favorite. And then Thursday night was the yahe, which is the true Colombian stuff. So this night was the Brazilian. The Brazilian, for me, was very, very visual. In other words, very psychedelic, which is not like that for everybody. When people call this plant medicine psychedelic, it's really not psychedelic for everybody. Everybody has different experiences. So in this particular week, I think I said the first week we had about 45 people. This week we had about 65 people. So it was a little bit bigger. Some really nice people I had a great time. But on Monday night they called us up, went up for the first cup, got the first cup, boom, go back. Lay down, just be still. And I don't know how long we laid down there. Could have been a half hour, could have been 45 minutes, could have been an hour. But then they called us up for the second cup. So this is where I've got to go. So they called us up for the second cup. And as you get in line, we're in 2 lines, and at the far end of the middle of the room where the 2 lines are, there's the altar, which is a table with a bunch of crystals and candles on it. You're not supposed to touch the altar. As I was walking through the line and I passed the altar, all of a sudden I start to sweat profusely, to the point where when I got near the shamans serving the second cup, I had 3 people in front of me, and I literally had to, as I'm standing in line, I had to do this. I am sweating, I'm just dripping wet sweating. And one of the helpers, Natalie, comes over and she says, "You all right?" And they thought I was going to puke probably, which I never have done. And she says, "You all right?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm sweating my ass off." And she goes, "You're purging. Come on, let's go." And she takes me back to my mattress. Excuse me. And I laid there for, could have been 5 seconds, could have been 5 hours, I have no idea. But she came back and got me, and I went and got the second cup. So the moral of the story is that I pushed past the fear. But Mother Ayahuasca doesn't make it easy. You're going to get tested. Whatever it is that we're going through at that point in our life, we're going to get tested. But I did it. I pushed past the fear, and I had a wonderful experience. Very visual. I know. On some of these nights, I spent time out in the outside, walking around, looking at the Milky Way, and because it's a clear night, it's no lights, it's just beautiful. Or standing by there's a fire outside, and I would stand there. A lot of people sit there. I stood there many times, doing different things over the course of this weekend, the following week that I went. I even had conversations with the spirits of my mother and father and my grandparents. I called them in actually and asked them to join me while I was standing there. But one of the things that happened on this first night, as I was laying on the mattress, just enjoying the night with all these psychedelic visuals, is I got a glimpse of somebody, a spirit over here. I could still see it. And if you notice the picture that I use on some of my videos, on the thumbnail page of the title, there's a little picture of it's a kind of a Native American Indian. He's going up, reaching at the sun. He's the spiritual warrior. That's basically what I saw in the corner of my eye that night. And then I saw a couple other entities over here. So I got a glimpse of, basically, I felt that what I was seeing up here was my spirit guide, and actually a version of me. It could have been a past version, a future version, I don't know, but that's what I felt as I was laying there, enjoying my psychedelic experience. There's also 2 other faces over here, and I didn't know who they were, but I just let them be, but they come into play later. So that was a wonderful experience, Monday night. Tuesday night, we go back. This is Brad's Brew. Brad's Brew, I call it Brad's Bliss, because it just makes me feel so blissful. It's just wonderful. So now the second intention. The first intention, of course, was to show me who I've become, show me what I've become. I've become fear, past that, got through that. The second intention now is to merge my soul, merge me. So they believe that during our first few years of life, we separate from our soul through trauma. And that's very true, I believe. We experience a lot of childhood trauma. I know I did, given my mother and father and what happened with them. And so we want to merge back to become whole or holy. So go up and get the first cup, come back, lay down. Everything's cool, blissful, just laying there, chilling out. Go up to the second cup, getting in those 2 lines, right? I'm in one line. There's the altar. I walk past the altar, boom, I start sweating again. But it's not quite as intense. And as I get up, I've got one person in front of me before the shaman. And one of the young ladies who had helped me on my first trip, she's the one who talked me into staying. She's sitting there, and I said to myself, do I ask her for help? And at that moment, I just got the idea to go like this on my shirt, and I pulled it, and it didn't stick. So I wasn't sweating as much as the first night. And then, so I said, I'm going for it. And the person in front of me walks away, and I walk up and boom, take that second cup. And I go back and lay down. Okay? So what happened was, so I'm going to merge with my soul. And this was very interesting, and it was just an amazing experience. Words cannot do it justice. Eventually what happened was I was laying on the mattress, and I had 3 spirits with me. One of them was my son, who I've never met, which I talked about in a video months ago. Another one was a young lady, a young spirit. She's named Charlotte. Charlotte showed up when I went out to Sedona to work with a shaman back in 2014. Yeah, Greg Drambour. Charlotte was there. She is one of my spirit guides, and her role is to remind me to have fun. And she was with me in Sedona, and she was with me this night. And the third spirit that was with me was so the third spirit that was with me, the first one is my son, the second one is Charlotte, and the third one is my inner child, my 5-year-old. And I have to read this part from here. So we're all sitting there holding hands in one big group, basically, and eventually Charlotte and my son were let go. And it's just me and my inner child, my 5-year-old inner child. And I asked myself, my inner child, I said, "What do you want?" And he said he wanted a hug. I didn't get a lot of hugs as a kid. We were not being German descent on my mother's side. There wasn't a lot of hugging going on there. It's funny because my sister and I are big huggers, and so are her kids. But I hugged him, and at that moment we merged, and it was beyond words. All of a sudden I had this feeling. It was the most beautiful feeling in my life at that moment. It was just amazing. And then I shot out of my body somewhere, I don't know where. I have no idea for how long. It could have been a minute, it could have been an hour. But I came crashing down, pow, back into my body. And just woke up with my eyes wide open, staring at the ceiling. And I said these words. I said, something big, and this is all, it's all telepathy at this point. I said, something big just happened. And the little voice, my little 5-year-old says, we merged. And I just completely lost it. I started crying and just lost it. It was the most incredible moment of my life. I just lost it. And eventually I composed myself. I went outside, and I don't remember exactly what I did, whether I went to one of the hammocks or if I just stared at the sky, but it was just amazing. Just an amazing experience. That was the second intention in the Colombian tradition. So the first one is, show me who I've become. The second one is merge me with my soul. So then we come to Wednesday. And Wednesday we go back to, I believe we go back to the Brazilian brew. So this is the real, for me, the very visual stuff, the psychedelic stuff. The third intention in their tradition is to heal my heart. This one got interesting. Well, they're all interesting, as you can tell. But this one really, really got interesting. I got up and got the first cup. I did not have any of the sweats. I just walked up, got this first cup, and I went and laid down, and there other people were still getting their stuff, so the lights were still on, dimly, but the lights were still on. And still you can hear people rustling around. And I just said to myself, I know you guys are here. Remember, there were those entities from the first night that I saw. So I said, I know you guys are here. If you want to heal my heart, I am ready. Just do me one favor and tell me who you are. The lights went out. Everybody got their first cup. They go lay down. The lights go out. And within seconds, boom, I'm pinned to the mattress. And this is what happens with what's called sacred surgery. There's a pattern that's discussed in the meetings that they have there at Rythmia. You can tell you're getting sacred surgery because you get pinned to the mat and your mouth gets kind of frozen shut. Now you can break this if you want, but you don't want to. You want to let it happen. So boom, I'm pinned to the mat within seconds of them turning the lights off. And this is on the first cup, which has never happened before. And my mouth is closed, my mouth is shut. And so I know, okay, something's going to happen. And all of a sudden I can feel something going on in my chest. And this goes on for quite a long period of time. And I could tell when they kind of closed me up, right? Because they opened me up. I could feel when they closed me up. And I said to them, I said, what did you do? And what they said was, we gave you a new heart. Now, this is not an uncommon experience in these journeys. And they told me that they were the Arcturians, the Syrians, and the Pleiadians. Now, the funny thing about that is I had never heard of the Arcturians. I had never heard of the star, which is, I guess, is a giant star called Arcturus. I looked it up the next day. But that's who they told me. This is on the first cup. And I just went, okay. So then they called for the second cup. And I went for the second cup and I walked outside for a few minutes. Normally they want you to lay down and let the ayahuasca start doing its thing. But I just walked outside for a couple minutes. I think I sat on the hammock for about a minute or two. And all of a sudden I got the thought form into the head that said, I need to go lay down. Okay. So I went and laid down immediately. Boom, I'm pinned to the mat. Mouth is frozen closed. And they're doing surgery again. But this is where it gets really strange. So I got some what I call it a tune-up. And it was right around my eye here, around my heart, my chest right here, and then down here in the stomach area. And this went on for a while. And at the end of it, when they stopped, you can tell when they stop, it's all energetic. I asked, who's doing this? And all of a sudden, and you're laying on the mattress, right? And you're looking up. If you can just picture this, almost like laying on a gurney, right? And you look up, and I said, who's doing this? And I see these two, right above me, mantis beings. I said that, mantis, M-A-N-T-I-S, mantis beings. They materialized for me, one on each side of me. And I looked at them, and my eyes went wide open, and I just went, oh, okay, thank you. I was speechless. Oh my God, because they were big too. I mean, they were just big. And I just couldn't believe it. Oh my God. And it was just wild, just wild. Oh, I'll never forget that. So that was 2 cups in the end of that night. And so then comes the last night, which is August 1st, Thursday night. This is the long Colombian ceremony. It goes all night till the morning. And they use the yahe, which is, the yahe is very heavy and it tastes really bad, but it's very interesting. But it's very purgative, as they say. So the first night, the first cup, I went up, got the first cup, I went and laid down, and it was very physical. It was like it was scanning my body. and it would bring things into my stomach, and it was a bit uncomfortable, but it was like a hairball. Okay, and then I started, so in order to process this, I was using some mantras. I can't remember exactly which mantras I was using. I just got guided to say these mantras, and I would dissolve this hairball, and it just kept happening. It was like they were cleansing my body, pulling it into my sea of chi here, and then it would dissipate. So eventually that happened. That went on for a while, and eventually I had to go to the bathroom and shit it all out. In fact, a few times, up to 6 times. That's how purgative it is. And that's on this first cup. So after the second cup, which was late in the night, very late, or almost early in the morning. See, we're starting to get into early morning stuff. I remember sitting up in bed, sitting up on the mattress. I had this feeling, this intense feeling of gratitude. And I sat up, and I remember, and I said the words, I wrote this down. I said the words, so this is what it feels like to be grateful for everything. That was the feeling they gave me, or Mother Ayahuasca gave me. To be grateful for everything. I've never forgotten that. Although I didn't practice it for a while. Now I practice it every day. But I wish I had practiced it a little sooner. After that, experience, they then they end up calling everybody up for there's a ceremony that happens, and they take the women in one group and they put them in a half moon circle. I talked about this the last time. And then the men, and they do this very ceremonial and very intense cleansing. It goes on for quite a while. And so I went through that and spent some time outside, spent some time with the fire, spent some time writing, listening to the music that was being played. And that went on until the wee hours of the morning. It actually goes through until the sun comes up on Friday morning. And just a wonderful experience that second week. I knew on Friday, that I had to come back one more time. And the other thing that I did that week, I actually bought another week. I think I bought it on Wednesday, because Wednesday afternoon, one of the things that they provided, I don't know if they still do this, but one of the things they provided was in their clinic, they do have a clinic there and a doctor on site all times, was stem cell treatment. And I actually bought a stem cell treatment and went and had it injected. So I spent about an hour or so in the clinic. It takes about, I think, half hour, 45 minutes, something like that. And at that time is when I decided, I said, I have to come back one more time. And this was only on Wednesday. I think it was Wednesday. But anyways, so I did do the stem cell treatment. Didn't really feel anything. I don't know if it helped or not. But I always like to try. I like to taste life. But I knew I was coming back. I knew I was going to go a third time. That was without a doubt. So we had a great group. Had a lot of beautiful people. This beautiful mother-daughter combination from Peru, and these women one from France and one from New Zealand, and they're just a wonderful, wonderful group. Had a lot of fun that week. Met a lot of really nice people. Had a lot of laughs. And a lot of incredible experiences, including mantis beings. So that was Rythmia and Ayahuasca Part 2, Pushing Past the Fear. And I'll come back later with Part 3, which happened in December 2019. And I'll save the details for then. But I hope this helps somebody. hope that more people will be called to partake in ayahuasca ceremonies. I highly recommend that you be very careful and that you choose the proper set and setting, as it's called. It's very important. Rythmia being the only place I've ever gone, it does provide a very special and very safe set and setting. I can't say enough good things about it. Thank you, Jerry Powell, and all your people. But yeah, it's this world. There's a meme that I saw going around that says every politician before getting elected or trying to get elected ought to be doing an ayahuasca ceremony. And that's very true, because it will change your perspective on life, yours and others. So until the next time, I will say aho and have a wonderful weekend.